Lions, they absolutely, completely, and totally murder the poor Chicago Bears. And I've made this point before, and I know it's early, but the Bears really are the new old Lions. Like, they seem to just find the nearest rake and step exactly in its direction and slam the rake right into their face. Because we've seen this dance before with them. You know, get a new coach, get in a new quarterback. First, the quarterback stinks. Then you realize the coach stinks. Fire the coach, get rid of the quarterback, start over. We've done this now 3 times. We did it with Mitchell Trubisky. We did it with Justin Fields. And now we're going through it with Caleb Williams. Now, Caleb has more time now to fix this, to get, past this current badness. But he wasn't great his rookie year, and he hadn't been great his sophomore year with a new coach and a new offense and all the weapons in the world. Don't tell me this guy didn't have weapons. He's got weapons. All right, they spent a first-round pick on Rome Odunze, and they spent a first-round pick on Golston Loveland. So they, at the very least, they spent capital to get these guys, and they got DJ Moore. So they've got weapons. It's just the chef is burning the steak, basically. I'd like to get a little bit more into the Bears, maybe a bit later. So let's get into the Lions, because this game was truly chicken soup for the soul. If I just look at the box score for you, Jared Goff, this guy is just unbelievable. It really, it's so shocking to me. Like, if you would have told me when we traded for him that I would just be singing this man's praises and defending him at every step of the way, I would have thought you were crazy, because all this guy does is go out and just ball. Like, all this guy does is go out there, 23 for 28, 333 yards, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5, count them, 5 touchdowns. He even had 6 yards on the ground. So, mobile Goff back on. Like, all this guy does is help win. He plays winning football. He can hit you deep. I remember, it's so funny, like, looking back, it's like, oh, he can't throw the deep ball. Cutscene. He had 2 deep balls to Jameson Williams. He can't, I don't know, he can't win in the playoffs. And then he wins 2 games in the playoffs. And, he can't win in the cold. And he goes out last year and goes undefeated on the road, including a couple of cold games there. Like, it just seems like, okay, can we just move on? This guy is an elite quarterback. This guy is top 10. You pick the stat, he's probably in the top 10 among quarterbacks. This guy's a very good quarterback. So we can just throw that one to bed. And the question, of course, becomes, did Jared Goff make Ben Johnson? Or, I'm sorry, we're not going to have that conversation? We only have that conversation when the player is bad and not the coach? Okay, that makes sense. Just wanted to make sure. Just because it's interesting that when Jared Goff plays bad, it's because he was never that good to begin with. But when the coach sucks and Jared Goff looks really good, well, it's because the roster that the coach has sucks. Got it. Understood. Just tell me you don't like Jared Goff without telling me you don't like Jared Goff, basically. So, moving along, though, to the other facets of the game. On the running game looked much improved. Jahmyr Gibbs, 94 yards on 12 carries. David Montgomery, 11 carries, 57 yards. Both of those guys with touchdowns. On the wide receiver end, I already talked about Jameson Williams. He had 108 yards on 2 catches. Guy averaged 54 yards a catch. That's hysterical. Amon-Ra had 9 catches for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns, a career high for him. Even have Isaac Tesla with a 29-yard catch. Brock Wright had 3 catches, one of them for a touchdown. Sam Laporta had 3 catches. It was a lot of guys getting a lot of love all over the field. Obviously, it was mostly Amon-Ra, but it was just everything that I could have wanted out of this game. The offensive line was protecting Jared Goff. It was helping the run game. You had big stops on the defensive side. Now, I did hear, and there's some truth to it, that, the pass rush was struggling until the second half when they knew they were throwing. You got to start somewhere. That's how I see it. You got 4 sacks on the night, or on the day, I should say. I'm not going to be mad at that. I don't have the emotional weight to be mad at you only getting 4 sacks when you knew they were throwing. You knew they were throwing, so you were able to get to the quarterback. That sounds fine to me. Like that works for me. Obviously, you got one from Al-Quadin Muhammad. You got one from Aiden Hutchinson. You got one from Brian Branch, who looked absolutely phenomenal out there. He had a couple of tackles for loss as well. Jack Campbell was your leading tackler with 8 tackles. All this guy does is grind, and nobody talks about him too. All this guy does is go out there and stuff the run and make plays, and nobody really gets to talk about him because he's not, stripping the ball like Brian Branch, or he's not, rushing the quarterback like Aiden Hutchinson. Like, the defense just overall looked better. Now, obviously, we'll see what Marcus Davenport, he was taken out of the game, but he had a sack, so at the very least, he was able to do something in this game. And look, you went a whole second half without giving up a point, pretty much. And I'm not even going to count that 7 points they got in garbage time, because they shouldn't even had that. It should have been Terrion Arnold's first interception, but a nonsense roughing the passer call took that away, and it allowed that drive to continue, and they end up scoring. The defense shut them down basically from, beginning to end. They had a really good scripted drive to start the game. Okay, not going to be freaking out after that. After that, they didn't do anything. Like, they were turning the ball over. They just looked anemic out there. And we were letting them stay in the game, granted, but it was like, man, we were playing with our food. It just felt like, okay, like, the Bears can't move the ball. Eventually, the Lions offense is going to break through, because it was like little mistakes. It was, Jared, he missed Jamison Williams on a throw, or, that run just kind of blew up on him, or, you had a missed field goal. We scored 52 points and left points on the board. That's what's crazy. That is what's crazy. Now, it's another 0-2 start for the Bears. I think I can't remember if they started 0-2 last year. But anyway, I want to talk about the Bears a little bit, because I mentioned at the top of the segment that the Bears are basically the new old Lions. And I made this point a couple of years ago when they blew that game in Ford Field. This was, I think, Justin Fields' last season. And here's what I'll say. Ben Johnson, and I said this going into the season, Ben Johnson ran a very particular kind of offense. And it is not the kind of offense that Caleb Williams is capable of running. Caleb Williams, throughout most of this game, there was a few plays where I was like, wow, that's a nice play by him. But most of it, it was like easy plays. You identify the open man on your first read, you get a lot of yards after catch. You have a nice run there from Swift. Like, what? There was nothing that I came away from this game thinking, wow, this guy is obviously the number 1 overall pick. Like, he wasn't really running with the ball. He rushed for just 27 yards on 5 carries. And he was taking too many. He was taking too long. And then, of course, he made that awful, awful interception. Like, that was just, like, that is a play that you just simply cannot get away with in the NFL. You might be able to get away with that in college, especially at USC. You're not getting away with that in the NFL. No shot in hell are you getting away with that. With these defensive backs, with these safeties, not going to happen. And furthermore, I saw something. Somebody said, like, oh, well, he really only had a bad time when he was, getting pushed out of the pocket. And he didn't get pushed out of the pocket that much. It's like I was watching a different game. He was missing guys short. He was missing guys high. The body language does not indicate somebody who wants to be there. Like, it indicates somebody who just feels like nothing can go right for him. And the team doesn't feel like they've really bought in to what Ben Johnson is doing. And look, it's 2 weeks. He's a new coach. He's never been a head coach. Maybe it does take some time. I'm not denying that. But, and this might seem hyperbolic, and I'm not meaning it to be, and I'm not comparing these two, okay? I just want to clarify, all right? Just in case any Bears fans come in and they get all upset. When Matt Patricia made his debut in Detroit, the first game they had was a terrible Monday night game where they just got completely massacred. And by the third quarter, probably even earlier, it looked like the entire team had just quit on Matt. This game had a very similar feel. You might say that, okay, last week they were playing well, and in the second half, things just got away from them. J.J. McCarthy had a, quarter worth, a million, like the best quarter a quarterback has ever had in a long time. Just completely everything was going their way and nothing was going the Bears' way. Okay. This game was okay. We got to within one possession just before the half ends. And I even said they probably should have ran the ball maybe one or two times there and allowed for the clock to roll there because they gave us way too much time to at least get a field goal. They give up that big play. Then all of a sudden, defense has got to go back out onto the field after they thought they just made a stop. And then they give up the touchdown. And then they go 3 and out. And at that point, my mind was like, oh, like in the back of my mind, and it came into the forefront. Oh, they're giving up. They're not going to, they're done. Like whatever Ben Johnson and his coaching staff is trying to tell them, they're not listening. Like you come out of that second half after giving up a touchdown and you do nothing. That looks like a team that is exacerbated, and it's week 2. We'll see how the Johnson era in Chicago stands, but I said this before: the offense that Ben Johnson runs, or that Ben Johnson ran in Detroit, does not fit Caleb Williams' play style. And maybe he'll figure that out, or maybe Caleb Williams will adjust. This feels like a guy who got in too deep and didn't know what he was getting into. We'll see, but hey, I hate to see it. Oh, and one last thing before I end the segment. To all the idiots who can't understand why Detroit fans would boo Ben Johnson, here's a tip. He's coaching for the other team. I don't know if you've been to a lot of sporting events. Usually they don't cheer for the other team. This might be shocking. When I go to a Lions game, you know what I don't do? I don't clap when the other team's coming out on the field. You know what I do? I boo. Because that's what you do. Oh, but he was really good as an offensive. Dude, just shut up. Okay? Like, we don't owe him anything, and he knows that. Okay? We don't need to cheer for him because he was happily employed with us for some amount of time. All right? So stop. Like, just stop this pearl clutching. Oh my gosh, Detroit fans, how could they treat their former coordinator? That's the key. That's the operative word right there. Former. He didn't have to go to Chicago. He didn't have to leave at all. He chose to take a job with a division rival. So he's going to play his old team twice a year. So he's going to get booed. And guess what? If we play the Jets at home, you know what's going to happen to Aaron Glenn? He's going to get booed. And you know what's going to happen? If and when we play Matthew Stafford again in Ford Field, you know what's going to happen? He's going to get booed. That's how this works. The fact that I have to explain this to grown adult people who seemingly have watched sports for longer than me is astonishing. But hey, we live in a strange time. So, yeah. Great win for the Lions. Chicken soup for the soul. Needed that. Now we're on to Baltimore. Hey, YouTube. If you like clips like that, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. We've got live shows every Tuesday night. Hope to see you there.